Hi everyone. Today I want to talk to you about the last year. So we're going to move forward a little bit. Just to make a context, I was in Australia from beginning of 2016 until mid of 2017, and then I went back in the beginning of 2018 for the workshop in New Zealand. And the brand WOW Puppies started actually as Happy Tails College, and that name was born in Australia in 2017 before I came back from there to Portugal. And it evolved into WOW Puppies in the end of 2018 after I arrived from New Zealand. And actually, like after I arrived from New Zealand was when Sammy, it was a month after I arrived, actually, he came into our lives. So it was like perfect timing again. I found him on the street. He came running towards me, towards the car. I opened the door and he just jumped on me, like kissing me and just with that playful mode of his. He was 5 months and a half when I found him. And there's a quite funny story here because has been like a couple of years or like 2, 3 years that I was saying I would like to have a puppy one day, but it was not the time yet. And then I went to Australia and all that, so the time wasn't there yet. And I still thought the time wasn't there. Well, I was not really thinking about it at that time. I was finishing a course that I started before going to New Zealand in dog breeding, canine breeding. And it was so curious. It was like the last day, it was the last test of the course that I went to do. And when I was coming back from it, so I already done the test, the last test of that course, I was just finishing it after coming back from New Zealand. And Sammy just showed up there, and in the beginning I thought I was not gonna stay with him, but in the end he actually stayed, right? I'm really grateful he did, and I think really life had a plan for me and Sammy was meant to be in our lives. And after that, so just a few months after that, I received the information about Happy Tails College was a name, like Happy Tails was a name that was already used and registered. So I had to find another one to register the brand. So I was like, started like brainstorming and thinking about it and all that. And I was like kind of wanting to rush a little bit the process. And it was funny because not that funny, but I hurt my foot really bad, my right foot, right like a few days, like 5 days. Yeah, 5 days after I turned 30. And it was the day when I was gonna have, a birthday dinner in my friends, and everything went down. So it was quite a big moment shift for me. It was quite hard. I had to, I couldn't really walk for like 2 months. I had my parents take care of me and take care of the dogs, like walk them and all of that. And it was quite curious because after that happened and I was like going around about the brand and all of that, and I wanted to push things forward, like to move things along. And so I was being a bit impatient at the time. And there's something I haven't really worked on so much at that time in 2018. It's really started there to build that patience, to really take things at a slower pace. I was used to always being a fast moving pace. And of course that changed a little bit in Australia, but coming back, somehow some habits come back as well. And that was one of them. I had, with the trip to New Zealand, again, another glimpse of that, of, okay, being patient. I had to wait for like knowing the date of the workshop and then going to the workshop. So I had to learn and to practice that patience again there. and the faith and trust. But this was just the beginning, really. I feel in that process for me, and like a big awakening kind of thing. You know, I was putting a lot of thought about the name, and I was quite sad that I couldn't use the Happy Tales College as I had planned in the beginning. And you know, I already had the logo done. It ended up beautiful, and it was like exactly what I wanted, and I didn't know that was exactly what I wanted. I remember this was like a really lovely process to work on this with the designer. I knew I wanted the brand, the logo, to have puppy in it somehow, and I just wanted it to be really personal, like really clear that it was different, that it was based on something different, on something personal. And so it ended up being in the back of puppy and with his tail up. So I absolutely loved it. When the designer showed it to me, I was like, oh my god, I'm having goosebumps, because yeah, this was, might seem little, but it was quite a significant point in the process. And now I'm getting a bit emotional, of course, because Puppy is not here with us anymore. And I feel like this brand really was born from him. In the beginning, like the foundation of it was born from him. And then, of course, Sammy came along and he joined the co-creation. But Puppy and like his presence and his impact in my life was so huge. And I really wanted the brand to show that and to have him as the image of the brand. So this to say that, yeah, I hurt my foot. I had to, stop. I couldn't really do much. I had to ask for help for everything, for mostly everything. And I wasn't really good at that before. I still struggle a little bit with asking for help. And what I feel is that at that time was really a call for me to slow down, to ask for help, and to take things one step at a time, take things slowly. And yeah, WOW Puppies came along, and after a lot of like testing different names and different things, and then it just came like that. It was like easy. It was a short name as well, and it passed the idea of what I wanted to show, that is really a wow effect, a wow transformation that dogs had in my life, and especially Puppy had in my life. And I'm having goosebumps again, because that really is what this brand signifies for me. And if you want to know something funny, this last birthday, I went to Thailand. The day after my birthday, I flew to Thailand, and it was like 10 days or 11 days after my birthday, again, I hurt my other foot. So 6 years later, and like 6 days after it happened, like in 2018, with the other foot, here I was now a bit far away from home, hurting my left foot now at this time, and having to ask for help from people I didn't really know, right? I was by myself, traveling alone, and it was quite funny why. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit more in depth, because I think this is really interesting. And so in 2018, when that happened, I was more in a like logical path of creating the brand, of like a more a material plain kind of thing. So I was more in the, okay, let's create this, let's do that, da, 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 da. And it was like, okay, slow down, take like one step at a time, keep going, but slow down. In here, I went to Thailand for a different thing. So I went to Thailand the last year because I had this dream in the beginning of last year, before I got sick. I had this really vivid and clear dream, really like powerful, cathartic dream. like I've never had before in my entire life. So I knew there was something there for me. And I'm having goosebumps now saying that, but I knew I had to follow it somehow. So it was a really specific dream. And I researched about it, and it was crazy. Like what I've seen in the dream, I've never saw it before in my entire life, at least this lifetime. And when I researched for it, because in the dream I heard I was in Bangkok, so I've never really saw pictures of Bangkok before. And the first thing I do, like I wake up, I put Bangkok in my phone, and the first image that comes up is so crazy similar to what I've seen in the dream that I lost my breath. I was like, wow, what? What? So it was like, I really felt like it was a clear message here. Like it was not just a dream. Uh, and yeah, from there, I kept it really clear in my mind. Like it wouldn't leave me alone, really, because it was such a clear vision and then such a clear image that I saw after that matched the vision in my dream, that I was like, okay, there's something here for me. And it was really emotional. So after that, and after like a few weeks, I got really sick, and it impacted like almost the rest of my year. And then my mom got sick, then Puppy got sick, and didn't really stay with us much longer. He passed in the end of September, and I was not sure if I was gonna do the trip. I already had the flight booked, yeah, before Puppy getting sick and after me getting sick. So in the middle, I was already getting better, and but it was such a like hard thing I went through that I decided, okay, this is it. I could, have not been here anymore. So yeah, I had this dream. I'm gonna follow it, and I'm gonna go to Thailand. So I had already booked the flight, and then Puppy got sick, and I thought, okay, should I go? Should I not go? And the flight was like 1 month and a half after Puppy left. So like I needed that trip, but at the same time, I didn't know if I would be in a position of making it happen emotionally, physically, like having the strength and all that. But yeah, I'm really glad I did. And my mom pushed me to do it. Actually, she thought, okay, you went through a lot of things this year, so just go and do it. And I'm so glad I did. Like, I really, really needed it. It's like, my soul was just talking to me, and really somehow I felt pulled to book that trip before that happened with Puppy. And at the same time, I still had like that month and a half that between, Puppy leaving and me going to the trip. So like for me to really mourn and grieve and feel it all, not all, because sometimes it still comes up, and it was already like 5 months ago, but when I'm recording this. But this to say that at this time I was more in an inward journey with this trip. So I went to Thailand in a more like inward trip. I wanted to clear my head, just connect with my body, just be more in the present and enjoy myself as much as I could, experience new things, meet new people, and just disconnect from the reality I was experiencing here in those last few months, since mostly the beginning of the year. So there, 1 week after I was there, it was like 1 week later, and my trip was almost 3 weeks. It was like almost in the middle of the trip, or a bit before the middle of the trip, I hurt my foot. And it was the left foot. And when I started looking up that kind of thing now, because I'm more aware of it, and I'm more interested in knowing these things. Like in 2018, I wasn't that connected to these things anyway, but I went to look up what it means to hurt the left foot, and it's more connected to the spiritual journey. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because that was what I was going through anyway. I was going a lot of inward and going through this whole deep transformation within. in a lot of ways. And here, what was going on at that time in the trip, as soon as it happened, I knew what the message was because I was already like in tune with my emotions, with connecting to my intuition. And at that time, it was like some friends that I met there, they invited me to go to a Muay Thai class. And I was actually not that interested, but I wanted to go with them because they had a motorbike and I didn't drive motorbike. Like I didn't really like it. So I preferred to just go with them and they were driving. So I would go and visit a bit of the island and go to one of the beaches. It was like really bad weather those days. So I went with them. And then because it was raining, I ended up going to the class as well, like, and just sit there and wait for them to finish the class. And then we would go back because it was not that good weather to be walking around anyway because of the rain. And then they kind of like pushed me, like they were like trying to convince me into trying the class, and I didn't really want it. So I said no, but then like after a few times I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, maybe it's fun. I've done things like this before in the past. So, and that's the thing. So right there I saw, it was like a little thing. It seems so insignificant, right? But because I was already in a big, deep process of going within and trusting my intuition, and that has been like my last 2 years, but especially this last year was really deep on that. I knew as soon as it happened, it was like I didn't follow my intuition. I overrode what my intuition was telling me, my body was telling me, and I went with my mind like, oh, I'm here. Maybe it's a nice experience. Maybe it's fun. I will do it with them. Like they are doing it, and I'm just watching. Like, so the mind started coming along, and that happened as soon as I did like one jump. Like I had just started warming up. That was it. That was it. There was no chance to go even like further and enjoy a bit more the process. So it was quite interesting. And of course, that impacted my whole trip. And that was clear, like a sign, a message from my body, like, listen to your intuition. Are you going with what others want to do? Or are you following what you want to do? What your intuition is telling you to do? That was like a clear message, more clear than water, like it was so damn clear. And of course, just 1 second changed my whole trip and the last few months because I'm still recovering. I'm much better. Thankfully, I can walk and all, but I cannot do everything yet. Like I cannot walk too much yet. I cannot exercise in certain ways. Like it still hurts. It's still painful. There's like ups and downs. Sometimes I think I'm like almost 100% and then I push it a bit further and it goes back. So it's again the thing of, okay, take one step at a time, but don't move too quickly. Like don't run. You don't need to run too fast. This time is to take one step at a time, as it was in 2018 with creating the brand and WOW Puppies. And now it's like somehow expanding that brand, expanding the vision of the brand and bringing a new vision and sense to it, bringing this wholeness, this holistic vision to it somehow that I've been wanting to bring along for quite a long time. And now finally I'm feeling the call to actually do it and put it into practice. And so it really is the same happening, but in a different vision, because now it brings a little bit more than the physicality of it, the training, the dog behavior. It brings more the other part of it. So our depths, our emotions, our intuition, who we truly are, our true nature, and connecting both things. So it goes more to the spiritual side of it. And the left foot of the body is connected to the spiritual side, more like the creative side, more our expression, our connection to ourselves, our truth. So this is like, wow, this is not a coincidence. I now know there's no coincidences. And this is like really, really clear happenings that were really showing me what I had to do. Because last year was quite hard and I was already questioning and doubting a lot of things. And if I should, do something different with my life and maybe put this on pause because of everything that happened with puppy, and maybe just focusing on something else for a while, working on something else for a while. And also like getting a bit more of financial stability because it was a hard year in all senses always. And the truth is, when this happened, I also felt this was a clear message for me not to go by what other people were telling me I should do, for example, in terms of work or in terms of what to do with my life now and, all of that. It was like a clear message from the universe. Okay, are you going to listen to the outside opinions and whatever, or are you going to tune in to the inside and actually follow the intuition and what you are being called to do right now? And the truth is, it was not funny in the beginning, at least. It was not really something that I was wanting to experience, right? In a big trip that I was taking, I wanted to travel free, right? As much as I could and enjoy myself. And then I was quite limited and it changed my whole trip. I really felt like it was calling me to slow down, to go inward, and to focus more on myself. And the thing is, it was, as I was saying, it was not that funny, but at the same time, that message stayed with me until now, because still now, when you are starting something a bit different, there's the fears, the worries, the doubts of, is this the right path? Should I really be doing this? And the mind comes and makes us doubt. And then those experiences that really mark us come to our awareness, our attention, and say, okay, remember this. Because this was a sign of life, of the universe saying, are you going to listen to the outside? Are you going to listen to the fears and worries and doubts and the messages that other people are putting in your head? Or are you going to follow your intuition and what you feel within, what you are being called to do right now? Are you going to trust? Are you going to go deeper? Are you allowing yourself to really believe and surrender and trust and have faith? Or are you going to let the fears, the worries, the doubts creep in and move along in a different way? And that's the thing. It's really, really clear that it's showing me not to rush into making decisions that are not aligned with what I really want, and stay clear on the path I want to follow and that I am in, that I am creating. And even now, again, when I start rushing a bit more, wanting things to go further along faster, the food starts hurting and calls me to slow down. So as hard as it was, and it still is sometimes, I know that it happened for a big purpose and that it was a big shift in terms of faith for me, of really listening and trusting to my intuition and to the guidance I'm receiving, and to not go into the doubts and the fears and the worries and the outside noise, and really come to the center, come within and listen to that clear voice inside, because that's the one that is guiding us to what we truly want in life. And it's not easy at times. There's a lot of noise in this world, and we easily tend to the doubts and the fears that come from listening to that outside noise. But these things in life, if we are aware of them, we can see how they are actually calling us and saying, okay, are you going to come and follow this path that we are leading you towards, like our intuition, our heart, and the guidance that we receive from life, from the universe, whatever you believe in? What are you going to do? And that's the thing, really, it's follow the lightness, because it takes you in a whole new direction and it feels so much more expansive and so much more joyful and so much more light. And it's the unknown. That's the thing. We fear the unknown, but at the same time, the unknown is the filled full of possibilities, of things that we actually don't know what they are. That's the unknown, right? But it just feels like a lot of possibilities, a lot of openness that is going to take us somewhere, that is going to be much more aligned, that if we follow the other direction, the fears, the doubts, the worries. So this is just a little bit about it, because there's deeper things here about the last year that I want to talk about, and probably in the next video I will address that. But this one is like an introduction and like a bridge between what I was telling you about from 2018, 2017, and now moving ahead to this present moment. And so the bridge between the two worlds somehow, and diving a bit here with this following the intuition, following the fears, because in the next one, I want to dive deep with you through the whole transformation that I've been going through in the last year, almost year and a half, year and like 4 months, since I started paying attention to my dreams and really writing them down. I've never done that before. And the whole transformation that that brought into my life has been nuts, to say the least. And Sammy wants to say hi, and he's calling me to go on a walk. So I think we are gonna end the episode here. So see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy it.